Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I am so excited to be sharing with you my winter favorites for 2025 and technically 2026, basically this winter season. So if you don't know, I am a big seasonal wearer. So every couple of months, usually at the start of the next season, I'll take an empty swatch wheel and fill it with 20 polishes of new and old shades in my collection that I want to wear. I know I say this every time, but I'm very excited about how this wheel turned out, so I will chat a little bit more about that at the end. For now, let me just show you my favorites. The first shade I pulled out is Kathleen Co's Moon, which is from a winter collection a couple of years ago, so I'm so sorry it's not around anymore, but I have just been craving this shade. It's a super sheer milky white jelly base that's packed with a glowy golden yellow shimmer that shifts to a brighter lime green in extreme angles. I think it just has this magical ethereal quality to it that just reminds me of a beautiful sunny winter day. The next white I have is Mooncat's Pearl Clutcher, which came out somewhat recently in the Danse Macabre collection, and it's this luminous white, somewhat pearly shade. It's not as brushstrokey as a traditional pearl. I would call it more of a shimmery pearl finish, which I think is just so flattering, and it's just so bright and icy. Definitely much more opaque too, but still has this magical quality with the shimmer going from a bright white to green in extreme angles. This was one of my favorites from the collection, and I was so excited because I just knew it was going to make it onto my wheel this season. I have a couple more whites to share. This one is Cracked Polish's Refraction, which came out somewhat recently in a polish pickup, so I'm sorry that you can't get this one, but it's pretty simple enough, just being a sheer milky white jelly with a aqua blue shimmer. There's also some pops of green in there as well, which just makes it so beautiful. I just love the colored shimmer in here. I would say the formula is similar to the Kathleen Co, just being a sheer ethereal white. But this one reminds me more of light passing through icicles versus light setting on snow. And the last white that I have is Fauve Frostbite from their holiday collection this year. This one is actually a thermal, but since I'm showing it on the swatch wheel, you're just seeing the cold state, which is another milky white kind of jelly base, maybe more of a crelly since it is a little bit more buildable, but it does have these beautiful sky blue matte glitters as well as snowflake glitters. There's also a beautiful blue shimmer in the background as well, and with it being a thermal, it actually transitions to a slightly more sheer white shade. It's not completely clear, but it's a lot lighter than what you see here on the swatch stick. You know, thermals aren't really my favorite finish, but I really love this one. I think it just captures the magic of snow days so perfectly. Now moving on to my blues, the first one I pulled out was Sylvanclaw's Just a Phase, which I feel like I've been waiting to use this season. It's a really light sky blue crelly base that has a slightly darker blue, almost cobalt kind of shimmer, as well as these gorgeous silver holographic flakies. I know it might not look super special on the first coat here, especially because of how light it is in color, but you can see more of that gorgeous light blue once you build it up to full opacity either in 2 or 3 coats. I really love how this one pairs with Frostbite right before it, where the blue base almost matches the blue glitters in that one perfectly. The next blue I have is Prism Parade's Ice Queen from their recent Frostborn collection, which is for this winter. It's a very sheer but still very vibrant shade of blue that just took my breath away when I wore it. I know it might not look like much here on this clear swatch wheel, especially in one coat. It almost looks like it could be a topper, but trust me, built up, the color is so gorgeous. I honestly feel like this is such a perfect shade to match December's birthstone blue zircon. It just has that same sort of brightness and vibrancy. I'm kicking myself for not including it in my birthstones video. The next blue I have is Starrily's False Awakening, which came out earlier this year in the Liminal Dreams collection. This is a stunning, soothing shade of light blue in a somewhat jelly buildable base that has a gorgeous golden yellow shimmer. I'm sure you can see a trend with these gold and blue shimmers this season. It's just really speaking to me. I love this color combination so much. Again, it reminds me of a sunny winter day. The next blue I have is ILNP's 0 Degrees, which came out in a winter collection a couple of years ago, and it is one of my favorite blue magnetics. It just has such a stunning color where it's almost in like a medium dark shade range, but still very vibrant, and the magnetic shimmer is just so striking in contrast. And like with a lot of other ILNP magnetics, I really adore that this also has those dainty hollow flakies in the background. They just feel so icy and cold, but so perfect. Winters are usually hard for me, so I do always love having a really dark option in my wheel as well. This year, I knew I had to choose KBShimmer's Breathe Just Breathe, which was from Polish Pickup at the very beginning of this year. It's this really moody, almost charcoal gray base that has this multi-chrome shimmer that has this kind of greenish yellow color head on, but it transforms into this brighter teal in extreme lighting. I feel like it perfectly captures the dark, harsh, cold vibes of winter, but in a really beautiful way. And speaking of teal, the next shade that I have is What's Up Nails Can't Unsee, which is a really gorgeous teal base that is packed with reflective glitters. Yes, I still love reflective glitters and I will continue to. I think they are just so sparkly and beautiful, especially for the winter season. There's something about how they twinkle that just reminds me of snow glistening, so I'm always going to gravitate towards them around this time of year and include at least one in my swatch wheel. I also really love this color, especially how it pairs with the last shade. I feel like it looks even better in person. This next shade came out earlier this year. This is Starrily's Polar Lights, which is kind of this aqua base color with a really strong minty cyan green shimmer and a silver magnetic pigment. I feel like I've said it so often now that I just want these brighter magnetics, and when Starrily put this one out, I was so excited because it's just exactly what I wanted. I think it's such a cool shade, perfect for these colder months. The next polish I picked out was Morgan Taylor's Gift It Your Best, which came out a couple of winters ago, and it is a pearlescent shade, but I really think it's so beautiful, mainly for the periwinkle color. I also don't think this one is terribly streaky, though that could depend on how much polish you have on your brush. I usually find the streaks are a lot more apparent if you do thicker coats, but if you do thinner ones and you are careful, it's not so bad. This one also dries down to a lovely matte finish that I feel like adds to this satin bow quality, which I think is so pretty. Like, the color makes me think of spring, but the finish makes it feel appropriate for winter. The next purple I have is Prism Parade's Moonlit Coronation, which came out in that same Frostborn collection as the blue that I shared. So it's very recent, it's for this winter season, and I just adore this color. At first glance, it seems pretty similar to a lot of other purple bases with a red shimmer, but this one just feels a little bit more unique with the shade of purple base. You can see it's pretty similar in color to the previous shade, being this darker periwinkle, so I just really love how it looks. I feel like in extreme lighting you can see more of a blue sort of base, which is so cool. Next I have Crack's Lilac Frosting, which came out earlier, I think in the spring of this year. It's in one of their glazed donut inspired finishes, so it is slightly pearlescent, but a bit softer, I would say. And it's exactly that soft, shimmery pearl finish that just makes it feel so fitting for winter. And I really love this color too. I think it's the perfect balance between purple and pink, so it's just really pretty, kind of soft and romantic. Definitely a shade that I think could carry well into Valentine's Day. Another pink that I have is Apocalypse Polish's Double Tap, and this one actually came out in their Halloween collection, but I thought it was so fitting for winter. It has this really light milky pink jelly base that has a glowy blue shimmer in the background and a mix of red metallic and holographic micro glitters. There's something about the red and pink that obviously immediately makes me think of Valentine's Day, but I think it can also work in like a crushed candy cane or peppermint kind of look too, and I think the blue shimmer just adds to that cold wintry feeling. But for my warmer, cozy winter pink, I picked out Cirque Colors Plush Suede, which I don't even know when this originally came out, but I picked it up sometime last year, I want to say, and I have been waiting to use it for winter. It kind of has this lighter, almost dusty rose color that's paired with this fiery copper shimmer and a dainty hollow sparkle. You guys know I already just love this finish in general, but the color combination in this just feels so incredibly warm and cozy. I just love it so much. It's truly the perfect winter pink for me. Every year, I always include a couple of browns in my winter wheel because even though brown is definitely a very true fall color for me, I think it easily is just as cozy in the winter time because it makes me think of hot chocolate or staying in a log cabin. So the first brown that I have is Holo Taco's Holo Cappuccino from their Barista collection. This is easily one of my top favorites from their crushed holos. It's just such a cozy, flattering shade. It looks perfect in 2 coats, but I actually also really love this in 1 coat on my natural nail. It's just so warm. The other brown I had to include was Holo Taco's Fairy Tale. This is one of my top favorite brown polishes, and it still pains me that they retired this one because it's just so unique, being this dark, rich, cozy brown magnetic. It has such a flawless, full coverage formula as well that's easily opaque in 2 coats, and it magnetizes so nicely. I usually feel bad recommending or sharing shades that are, no longer around, but this winter season I'm just fully caving and indulging in all of them, so apologies for that. But the next polish that I have is around, and this one is Holo Taco's 50 Shades of Greige, which apologies for not including the application of the first coat, but it's pretty much your standard 2-coat linear holo formula. And this one is a beautiful taupey greige kind of color, which I feel like is a really pretty light neutral, but with a super strong holo flare. And last but certainly not least is Fauve's Stargazing, which is the topper to round out my swatch wheel. This has an absolutely magical mix of these star and crescent moon shaped glitters, as well as these little iridescent flaky shards in the background. It's maybe not super impressive over a clear swatch stick, but over darker shades, it really looks like a clear winter night sky. And here is my completed swatch wheel. I went back to add a 3rd coat as well as top coat over the majority of the shades. There's actually a few that I skipped the top coat because they dried down to this sort of matte finish, like Fauve's Frostbite, which is the thermal crelly, as well as a couple of the pearly shades that we'll see in a second. And yeah, normally I do not skip top coat. I would go back and add a matte top coat or something just for some extra protection. But yeah, I just really loved how it looked on the swatch wheel here. So hopefully you can see that green flash in that KBShimmer multi-chrome where it's just so dark and bright at the same time. I just love the color combination there. And of course, love these slightly brighter pops of color with the periwinkles and pinky shades. They're just so warm and cozy and being anchored by those deeper brown shades. Winter is not my favorite season by any stretch of the imagination, so having this cozy color palette just makes it a little easier to get through, especially the dark, hard days. So here's a look at my wheel zoomed out a bit just so you can see it in all its glory. I just love this color palette so much. I think it's so pretty. It is definitely kind of similar to last year's wheel, which you can see here, though the biggest difference is that last year I only had 1 white polish on my my wheel, while this year I have 4. So it might seem a little excessive, but I've just been missing the magic of snow days, so I wanted to include that on my wheel, and I just love the lighter kind of feel it has. So that wraps up my winter favorites for 2025. So here is one last look at my swatch wheel. I love it so, so much. I know I say this like every year, every season. Something else I feel like I always say is that how I get nervous whenever I finish curating my lineup, because once I see my final lineup and then compare it to the previous year's wheel, there's always like an overlap with the color schemes, even though very rarely will I actually repeat a shade. That's like the whole reason that I compare it to the previous year in the first place. But you know, color-wise, I have a type and I can't help but just be a little nervous, like every year kind of showing the same sort of color palette, you know, but what can I say? These are my favorites and this is my channel, so I'm gonna share them. But yeah, I would love to know if we have any favorites in common this year, or just what are some shades that you plan on wearing this winter season. I'd also love to know how winters are for you too, because growing up in New Jersey, I vividly remember having such crazy snowstorms when we were younger. Like we would get 3 feet of snow, like actual snow day, you know, school closing sort of thing. And it's just so sad to see how little snow we've gotten over the years. Obviously, I know that's a bigger issue when it comes to like the climate crisis. So yeah, I'm obviously gonna just try to channel those like whimsical snow days by wearing them on my nails. But it's always so interesting to see how there's people who live in like, you know, much warmer climates that have never gotten snow for Christmas compared to people in like the Midwest who get like feet and feet of snow like months at a time. So yeah, I would love to know what your experience is like in the winter season, or just let me know any and all thoughts you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!